evening, everyone. Today we have a special guest and his wife, Steve Cicero and Karen Cicero. This is going to be a great interview. The reason for that is because Karen adds a lot of spice to Steve's life. Steve is a very great speaker. He's got a lot of experience. And so sometimes he can be a little softer in what he says about himself. I think we have Karen here to really speak a lot of differences into the situation, and I think you're going to be very well entertained tonight. So Steve, if I remember correctly, you told me you grew up in Southern California?
Yes, I was born in Los Angeles and brought up in the San Fernando Valley. Lived in the San Fernando Valley for all of my childhood and all the way through college and on from there.
On from there, okay. Well, didn't you say that there's actually someone really famous from your small town?
Well, sure. Pacoima is the hometown of Richie Valens.
Oh.
And they now have a park and swimming pool, public swimming pool dedicated, the Richie Valens Memorial Park and Swimming Pool.
With his flying guitar?
I don't know about that. So I haven't been by there except to drive by and notice it. We used to call it Paxton Park.
Paxton Park, gotcha, gotcha. So you have a very interesting story about how you two met. Could you tell us about that, please?
Well, yes, while I was going to school, I was rooming with some friends from school, you know, the way college kids do. And I worked in a bicycle shop in Canoga Park. One day, I got a phone call. I happened to answer the phone, and there was someone on the phone who wanted to have her special tires for her bicycle repaired, but she wanted to watch how it was done so she could learn and be able to do it herself. So I explained to her that, well, that works fine, except that for this particular special kind of tire, we don't have time to do it in the shop, so we take them home at night and we repair them at home and bring them back the next day.
Let me stop you there. How did you feel being told that you need to go to his house to have him take care of your tire?
Right. I said, well, thank you, but...
Just hung up on him?
Yeah.
She hung up on me.
Didn't even think twice about it, huh? Okay, but you had a second chance, though.
Yes. Interestingly, she called back a couple of days later.
Well, miraculously, huh?
And I thought so. I couldn't believe it. And she said, well, I've been thinking about it and I haven't gotten any better offers, so I'm going to take you up on it.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, Karen, if I remember correctly, you said that you had he had a very, let's just say that he had a habit that was very interesting. One of his roommates, is that correct? When you first pulled up?
Oh, well, actually, I got it a little bit wrong. It was another time after that.
Okay.
But the roommate came in and wanted to know what we were doing, and he was trying to show him how to work on a sew-up tire. This was racing bicycle tires, and the roommate began to take over because he wanted to read his comic book. And so, but it was, okay, well, I'll tell you about the other part a little bit later.
Okay, a little bit later. Gotcha. Well, we know you have a wonderful reading habit, and such an intense reading habit that you have a library to this day. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, my personal library is quite large.
And it's so large that you've only read a third of your own books. Is that correct?
Well, a lot of my books are not exactly books to be read.
Okay.
I mean, I still have all my old math textbooks from when I was in college.
Oh, wow.
But I have a lot of fiction and a lot of nonfiction, and nonfiction books tend to be the kind of thing that you use for reference purposes. But yes, since I have maybe 1,000 or more books in my personal library, I haven't gotten around to all of them.
Gotcha, gotcha. Are you willing to tell us a story now about the roommate?
Oh, well, I have incriminating photographs.
Oh, did you bring the photo of him?
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness, I gotta see that.
I moved into that night.
Oh my goodness.
another roommate came in and said, "We need another roommate." And I said, "I'm looking for a place to live." Because, as Peggy Noonan has said, the 60s were a wild and crazy time.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were, yeah.
So here's why,
Well-
this is him with long hair.
The way I remember it is that she looked at each one of us, took a deep breath, and then said, "I'm looking for a place to live." So I got the impression that she was a little hesitant.
Sure. Gotcha. But it had nothing to do with that other roommate, right?
Well, he was clothed that day.
Oh, he was clothed that day. Okay, you finally admit the part of the story we were trying to get at here.
It was when I came by, I had already moved in, and where I was working, the young man who drove me home that day from work, the cook, as he pulled up, the roommate who had fixed my tire for me walked between the garage and the house with no clothes on. He looked at me, he says, "What have you gotten yourself into?"
Yeah, well, didn't you also say that this roommate, who was, as we just said, is a streaker, decided that San Francisco would be a good place to move to?
Yes, and he became a messenger, bicycle messenger of those hills.
Yeah,
This
but-
was a house full of bicyclists. There's all these folks.
And he probably learned how to put clothes on by then, right?
Right. But they were all these long haired.
He normally wore clothes,
Normally, okay.
but he was pretty casual about whether he was going to or not.
From time to time?
Yes.
Gotcha. Well, hey, tell us about your career briefly in, if I remember, Fortran, is that correct?
That's right. While I was in college, I decided at some point to take a programming class. And the college had a computer. One computer that was in a room in the engineering building that was air controlled, air conditioned. None of us ever saw this computer, but what we did get to do was make out these punch cards and hand them to the computer engineer, and he would run them through the computer and then hand us back the next day, the output, which said that there was an error in the cards and the program crashed and we had to do it again. And that was my introduction to computers and computer science, and I went from there to learn more and more and more about computers, and ultimately that became my career.
Gotcha. And you're looking to retire soon, is that correct?
Oh, I hope so.
Karen, any final thoughts you'd like to add?
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't think of anything.
All right.
Apologize.
Well, Steve, anything else you'd like to add?
Yes. There was one other aspect of my career, my life, that is very important, and that is that I got into Toastmasters 20 years ago, and I've been doing that ever since and having a wonderful time of it. And it's also helped me in my main career, which is, of course, computer programming.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we'll conclude the interview. This has been a pleasure getting to know you two deeper. Great stories. Appreciate it. Thank you for bringing the incriminating photo. Appreciate that. I'm sure everyone else enjoyed it too.
She didn't tell me she was bringing it.
Thank you everyone for participating. This has been an interview of Steve and his